Kind of chill.
Well, guys, it's starting. My name is Eric Warnock, the 99-cent comedian. Thank you very much. My last name is Warnock. That's Warnock. It's a Scots-Irish name, which means every morning when I wake up, I want to get as drunk as I can, but do it as cheaply as possible. Thank you. My first name is Eric, and you think, that'd be an easy name. No, it's not. I walk up to people, I go, hi, my name is Eric. And they'll go, I'll get back. Harry, Jerry, Larry, Terry, Perry. I haven't gotten Ferry back, thankfully. But I think about these girls named Erica. So I got to thinking, when I introduce myself, I'm going to start putting that hard "ka" on my name. So I walk up to a table of young lovelies and I said, hey, my name is Eric. One of them flinched. She goes, dang, dude, how about some anger management classes? Went up to another table and I said, hey, babes, my name's Eric. Come to find out, one of them was an off-duty registered nurse. She gets up and runs behind me and starts giving me the Heimlich maneuver. You guys have heard of the singer Cardi B?
Yes, sir.
Well, I did a search, and interestingly, Cardi B's father is Cardi O, and her grandfather is Cardi AC. Thank you. Have you heard of BB Rexha, the singer? Her sister is Anna. Anorexia. If I have to explain this stuff, I'm going to come out in the audience. Start. You know the difference between a big-time Netflix comedian is and a Bakersfield open mic comedian is? Zip code. You know the difference between a comedian and a musician is? Both suffer from equal psychosocial pathology, but a musician can count to 4 and knows the alphabet to G. You know, you've heard Springsteen on stage. All right, boys, we're going to do this in the key of E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Born in Royaldale, born in Royaldale. Then you got drummers who can only count to 4. You know, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. I heard somebody go, well, what about 11/8 time? I go, hey man, I had a drummer tell me it's all 3s and 4s, you know. You hit a 4 once and you hit a couple of 3s and you got 11, man. Yeah. You know what the drummer's motto is? I had a drummer tell me, it's pretty good. The drummer's motto is, if you're not the lead dog, the view is always the same. How does a lead singer get on a drummer's good side? Buns of steel work out. The drummer's sitting there going, you know, I'm a straight man, but his booty's looking pretty damn good these days. I had a drummer tell me, Eric, that's not true what you're saying about we drummers not knowing the alphabet. I said, oh yeah? He said, we know the letter X. I said, oh yeah, do tell. And he said, we have to sign legal documents, you know? You know what the best part of being a drummer is? You very rarely lose your seat. You walk into a bar, get a bar stool, you get up, go to the bathroom, come back, somebody's taking that. Drummer gets up, goes to the bathroom, comes back, someone's sitting there, they're going, hey, can you count to 4? Get out of my seat, pal. Guy at Front Porch Music told me, he said, Eric, and he's been a touring musician, he said, Eric, musicians are self-absorbed. And I said, well, no lie. And it's like Bruce Willis, one of his characters. The water is wet and the sky is blue. You know, I tell musicians are self-absorbed by their vocal warm-ups. Me, 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 yeah. You know, I took guitar lessons for quite a while. It was interesting, the first session I ever went to, I went in and I put my guitar case up on the table. I started taking the guitar out of the case. And the teacher goes, whoa, 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 what's going on here? And I said, well, I'm taking my guitar out of the case. No. Before you do that, you have to learn the fundamentals of music. I said, don't I need my guitar for that? And he said, no. The fundamentals of music say you have to know how to roll a joint. I said, well, I don't smoke. He said, it doesn't matter, neither do I, but the fundamentals of music say you have to know how to roll a joint. So finally, after 9 sessions, he let me take my guitar out of the case, and he gave a little certificate and said, let it be known by one and all that Eric Warnock, the 99-cent comedian, has mastered the fundamentals of music. He can roll a fairly decent torpedo. Oh, and by the way, because I've taken guitar lessons, I can now count to 4 and I know the alphabet to G. Woo! You know, they say learning music makes you smarter, so apparently that's true. This was kind of interesting. I had an acquaintance take me aside one day. She said, Eric, I'm concerned about my 7-year-old son. I said, well, I don't have any children, and I'm not a psychologist, but you can bounce something off of me. She said, I put him to bed at night at like 9 o'clock, and I go in at 10 o'clock, and he's not in his bed. And so where is he? She said, I looked around the house. I couldn't find him. So finally one morning I asked him, where do you go? And he said, you know, Mom, he said, I just want to, she said, I found him. He was sleeping on a neighbor's couch. And I go, wow, that's weird. Did you ask him about it? And she said, yeah. She said, Mom, or he said, Mom, there's something in me. I don't want to sleep in a bed. I want to sleep on a stranger's couch. And I said, oh, man. She goes, is that bad? I said, well, it may show that he has a genetic predisposition to being a comedian. Thank you. Came out of the closet recently. I admitted I'm a hortisexual, which means I'm attracted to houseplants. And I've had an eye on my neighbor's African violet for some time now. One night, the deputy drives up. I'm looking at you. Hey, are you peeping Tom on that woman? I go, no, I'm looking at her African violet. They let me off. So. Finally got a date with that African violet. I got to tell you, man, that was a highlight of my life. I go walking into the restaurant, I got the African violet in my hand, and I can hear the nervous rumblings and murmurs, jealousy. I heard one woman go, how'd that guy get that trophy African violet? He must have money. So not only am I dating outside of my race, hell, I'm dating outside of my species. One of my buddies told me one time, he said, Eric, my daughter got her degree in English at Cal State University, Bakersfield, and she's now teaching English in the current high school district. Oh, man. Man, you could grab me a napkin. No, this isn't flop sweat. Woo! So anyway, he said, she's teaching English in the current high school district, and he started talking about Garrison Keillor's Prairie Home Companion. And there was apparently there was a group on that show. The acronym of the group was POEM, and he said it stood for Professional Organization of English Majors. Well, there's one for comedians now, too. The acronym is POST. It stands for Professional Organization of Shallow Thinkers. Sometimes people ask me, Eric Warnock, the 99-cent comedian, have you ever done comedy in LA? I says, yeah, I have. I jumped feet first into the pool of comedy de Los Angeles. I shattered both heels, man. That pool ain't but 3 centimeters deep. I like to ask young comedians, so why'd you become a comedian? The usual answer is, well, I told a knock-knock joke one time and someone said, hey, you should be a comedian. Well, following that logic, I think about that Mike Rowe fella from Dirtiest Jobs, and he says young people should get into the trades, you know, electricians, carpenters. You can make some pretty good money. So now, when I see a young person, like, you know, at the Coke dispenser here, you know, they get the Coke, put the lid on it, put the straw in it, walk up to them and say, hey, you should be a plumber.
That's about right.
Thank you. You guys familiar with the 27 Club? Famous musicians who died at age 27. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain. Well, I think about some big-time musician on the evening of his 28th birthday. He was walking it out in the backyard, looking up in the night sky, and he goes, what, I'm not good enough for you? Thank you. Or some unloving, uncaring father sitting around the McDonald's with his buddies on a Saturday morning talking about his son. He goes, yeah, that kid of mine, famous rock musician. His first record went triple platinum in 7 months. He died at the age of 26. The kid never could do anything right. Boy, that's harsh, huh? Sometimes people ask me, Eric, how did you become a comedian? And I said, well, it's quite simple. I graduated from North High School in September or June of 1975. In April, one of the counselors called me and he said, Eric, what are your plans after high school? I said, well, sir, I'm 18 years old, and I just figured that once I graduated from high school, or I'm 18 now, for the past 15 years, I just figured when I graduated from high school, I'd just knock over 2 or 3 banks and do a life sentence in prison. He said, you got a backup plan? I said, well, sir, I thought about becoming a comedian. He said, a comedian? And I said, yes, sir. And he thought for a second. He said, you know, I just think I saw where Penny's was having a sale on their nylons.
I get it.
So I was just paroled 5 years ago after doing a 37-year stretch in federal penitentiary. Here I am doing comedy at Tony's Pizza on Coffee Road. All of my dreams have come true. Other times people ask me, Eric Warnock, the 99-cent comedian, how long have you been a comedian? And I say, well, let's address something first. There's no reason for you to verbally punctuate my name. But then I say, I think I've been a comedian since I was 7 years old. I started sleeping on other people's couches. You guys know what phantom pains are? When people have had an amputation, the, the limb, toes, whatever it is, I feel like it's still there. Well, I've had phantom hair pain since the late 70s. I keep getting turned down for the OxyContin for phantom hair pain. What do you need for Oxy for? Phantom hair pains, man, it's driving me crazy, Doc. Something interesting. I went to Bakersfield College and I took an anatomy class and a physiology class, 2 separate classes. And I found out something interesting, that the smallest muscle in the body has the longest name. It's called the levator labii superioris aliquotae. Now let me break this down for you. Levator, elevate, labii, lip, superioris, upper lip, aliqua, alongside, nasi, the nose. It's this little muscle right here that allows you to go. Now, Clint Eastwood and Elvis Presley made an entire career from this muscle. I know what you're thinking. Pump did fire 6 shots or only 5. Elvis Presley. Now, I really can't see myself walking into the club, pulling up my shirt, going, "Hey, Dave, check out my abs." So what I've been doing is I have a piercing right here in my upper lip. The mustache covers it up, and I put a hook through it. So I started with a ballpoint pen, working that levator labii superioris aliquotae. Well, I started from a ballpoint pen. Now I'm at a 75-pound kettlebell in the gym. I mean, this thing, boom, boom. You can see the veins of the artery, boom, the muscle pulsing through it, sweat pouring off of it. People are going to the gym going, "Oh my God." It must be working. I walk into the club one day and they go, "Hey, Dave, what's going on?" I heard one of them turn to a friend. She goes, "Oh my God, did you see the levator labii superioris aliquotae? My God, that thing was cut. It was shredded. He must be a bad boy and real romantic too." That's a fun joke. It took me about 40 years to complete that. If levator labii superioris aliquotae was floating around in my cabeza for 40 years, and I started dating this woman, and she's a track athlete, and we started talking about muscles, and I thought, oh my gosh, there it is. Woo! 2015 from 1975. I performed at the Bakersfield Condors Booster Club banquet several years ago. And one of the interesting things, sometimes when I tell a joke, there's a pause. And in my brain, I'm going, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. If I get to 4, Rodney Dangerfield City, I'll tell you, a tough crowd. Anyway, I started thinking about these Canadian hockey players that were there. I wondered, what do Canadians use to count off seconds? We use Mississippi. Is it 1 Saskatchewan A, 2 Saskatchewan A? Well, as fate would have it, I met a woman soon after that from Canada. After we exchanged pleasantries, I asked her, here we use, to count off seconds, we use Mississippi. I go, what do you guys use in Canada? And she said, we use Mississippi also. We learned how to spell it and write it when we were in grade school. I said, you guys could use Saskatchewan. She said, yeah, but nobody in Canada can spell Saskatchewan. Imagine little Francois and Mario Lemieux middle school at the spelling bee. Francois, can you spell Saskatchewan? S, A, S. I got nothing, teacher. So apparently in Canada, if you use a four-syllable name of a state, to count out seconds, you have to know how to spell it. Who knew? This is something else I learned at Bakersfield College. I don't know if it was psychology or sociology or something. Anyway, the teacher talked about an experiment that the university did. What they did is they had young men wear a t-shirt all day and they'd work out and stuff. Then they would have ovulating women come in. They had to be ovulating apparently, and they would sniff the t-shirt, and to a high degree of accuracy, they could tell if the young man, who they'd never met, if he had a symmetrical face, which supposedly is for good health. Well, one of my favorite quotes is, a little knowledge is dangerous, and a lot of knowledge is very dangerous. So I ran with this knowledge. I thought, I came up with a new pickup line. I walked up to a table of young lovelies and I say, hey, any of you babes ovulating? Well, I am. Take a sniff of this. He's a smooth operator, smooth operator. There's a saying in country music. The country music is three chords and the truth. Not so much anymore. My theory is country music is three chords, a rhyme dictionary, and auto-tune. This guy writes a song, I've got a beer in my hand and my toes in the sand. If I'm ever going to be the dictator of this country, I'm going to outlaw rhyme dictionaries. So that guy's going to be writing that song, and I got a beer in my hand and my toes on the ceiling fan, the chair. Wow. Auto-tune. What's the doctor recently? I said, Doc, been feeling a little out of sorts. And he said, Eric, I'm going to do some allergy tests on you. I said, okay. So, I got on the table and started sticking things in me. 20 minutes later, he comes back in. He goes, oh my God! I said, what? He goes, your back is just bright red. It looks like it's burning up with fever. I said, what is it, Doc? He said, you're highly allergic to auto-tune. He asked me, he said, Eric, how do you cope with that? I said, I got to tell you, Doc, it's pretty rough, man. When I go into the Walmart, they start playing an auto-tune song, and I fall to the floor and I put my hands over my ears. And oh my God, make it stop, make it stop. And he goes, Eric, he goes, have you heard of an EpiPen? I said, yeah, epinephrine, someone has an allergic reaction, they can take the epinephrine, to maybe get them to the hospital in time to save them. He goes, do you know what Thorazine is? I said, well, I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it is. He said, Thorazine is a very strong antipsychotic. He said, I'm going to give you a Thorazine. I said, cool. So the next time I was in the Walmart, they started playing the auto-tune song. And instead of falling to the ground, I hit myself with that Thorazine, and I just kind of shuffled around the store, and I was drooling, but I made it out. You know what's cool? It's been 7 months since I've been a people of Walmart meeting. That's pretty cool right there, Brian. Me laying on the ground, the fetal position. Make it stop, make it stop. The guy who supposedly came up with auto-tune worked for Exxon, and they used the auto-tune to shoot down home so that they could see underground formation, supposedly, you know. So Exxon came up with two environmental disasters, the Exxon Valdez and Auto Tune. You know, the guy retired, his old lady goes, honey, can I use Auto Tune in my music? And he said, why, sure. Would you make me one of your meatloaves? I sure would. That's where it came from. You know, the first song with Auto Tune, Share. Then you my life, people were calling the producer going, how did you get that? How'd you get that sound? Oh, that's just her. Well, then the schmendrick named T-Pain, he's a rapper, did an entire record with auto-tune. And he said he was on a plane in first class, and the flight attendant tapped him on the shoulder and said, I sure like to talk to you. And he was going, oh, cool, man. You know, he's going to give me props. He said, I walked back there, and Usher looked up and said, man, you really messed up music. He said he went into a depression for 4 years. I don't wish that on anybody, but someone should have hit him on the head with a rolled up newspaper or something. You heard of those things that people hang around their neck in case they fall or something? You know, they hit the button. Help, I'm falling, I can't get up. I have one for comedians now. It's called Dial and Escort. And what it is say I wake up in the middle of the night going, I can hit this button, and an escort comes out to my house. And she wraps surgical tubing around my arm, loads up my Lenny Bruce signature needle and syringe with heroin, you know, palpates it, boom, slams me. My final words are, so people can say, you're about the 99-cent comedian, died of a heroin overdose, had a hooker in the room, died like a real comedian. You know, I've done a lot of open mics in my life, and, you know, when I first started, you know, every once in a while there'd be an open mic, but I called bars, and I talked to the gatekeeper and said, hey, can I open for your band Saturday night? Nah, we don't allow no comedians. It's like, damn. So what I would do is I'd write it on a piece of paper, and, you know, the date, the person, the gatekeeper, name of the gatekeeper I spoke to, and name of the bar, and phone number. Well, I called back a year later, hey, can I open for your band? One of the women goes, hey, ain't you that 99-cent comedian fella who just called a couple of weeks ago? And I said, well, it was a year ago. She said, it was a year ago? I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, you're a comedian. And I said, yes. She said, you ain't drank yourself to death or choked to death because you aspirated your vomit from a heroin overdose? And I said, no. She said, must not be much of a comedian. Here's one of the first jokes I ever created. You know, when I first started working in an office building, there was one woman who smoked inside. You're supposed to smoke outside. Then they had smoking break rooms. Then people moved outdoors. Well, they'd be standing right by the door, and the smoke would come in. One day I was thinking, you know, when I walk past them, I inhale that smoke. It's called passive smoking. And I got to thinking, you know, I inhale the smoke of both men and women. Does that make me a bypassive smoker? I got to tell you about, you know, joke creativity back then. I called this woman, I'm a bypassive smoker. She goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I'll have to set it up. Because before that, I could rattle off other people's jokes. I was an imitator. When I started making the transition from being an imitator to a creator, like, this is odd. One last joke. Maybe two. There's an interesting phenomenon going on in American culture. We're now naming our kids first names and also last names like Parker, Cooper, Connor. I just hope our Jewish brethren don't get into it. I'm not sure the world's ready for a kid named Lipschitz Rabinowitz. I went to an NFL game several years ago in Phoenix. The Cardinals played the Cleveland Browns. I came back and I was talking to this woman. We were talking about football and stuff. She goes, "Who's your team?" I said, "Well, I don't have a team." She goes, "How can you not have a team?" And I said, "Well, I respect and I support all sports and all teams equally. I'm spiritual, but not religious." That's 31 minutes right there. Thanks, guys, and I appreciate it. Woo!